Still trying to think about it for LinkedIn. Okay, live on the YouTube and everywhere else except for LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is not agreeing with me for some reason. We'll give folks a few minutes to get connected and get online, then we'll just start schmoozing. See the push notification going out, so that's good. Got the chat pulled up over here. And to make sure that I removed any and all embargo stuff from my background behind me. Nothing that I can't show you. There's some things that I'm keeping in reserve. Am I muted? No, I'm not. Okay, good. You can hear me. Should I put on some music? Should I get some better music maybe for next time? Tell me in the comments if you're here. Tell me if you like hearing the music or don't. Don't like the music. It's too loud, it's too soft. Give folks another minute or two. Looks like LinkedIn finally woke up and started working, so that's great. Happy to see that. Bunch of fun things to show you all this week. Well, a few fun things. Let's see what's happening. We're on X. Are there any comments? Is the question. X needs a better studio for this, similar to what do you call it? Similar to YouTube. I need to find a way to mount my iPhone here so that I can have X running and see the comments, but not have it vibrating because my microphone is attached to my desk. Or maybe I need to move my microphone to a better stand. Still optimizing this setup, still figuring out the best way for it to happen. All work together. This over here so I can see that. Alright, the music is done. Let's get this show started. It is 1:05. Well, 1:05 Pacific time. So let's take a sip and let's begin. Alright, welcome back to Tech for Work, my show on all things that happened in the technology and business spheres. Each week I dive into things that I find interesting, things that happened, as well as any new videos I made, or new products that I received and started playing with and unboxed and possibly even made videos on. My name is Jesse Nolan. As always, I'm your host, and let's get into it. I was actually offline for, I guess it was just a day, from Wednesday night to Thursday night. Because of the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur, and that's the one where you fast and don't do like any technology, no driving, no none of that, and so totally offline. And as I mentioned over Rosh Hashanah, like I get twitchy after the end. It's like, what is happening? It's Techtember, but in fact it is now Techtober. So welcome to October, everybody. Things are crazy. And yes, I was offline for one day this week, and I'm going to be offline for a couple days next week, and a couple days the week after that, and I'm traveling, so it's about to get really crazy. Hopefully I can fit in a show next week. We'll see. I have to see if I can do it. It won't be here in the studio. I think I'm leaving on Thursday, so I won't be here in the studio, so I might do it from just my iPad. We'll see if I have time to get away, or if maybe we're doing something with the family and it conflicts. So next week might be one of those weeks that I skip. But thanks to all of you who have come back week after week, and as this show gains more momentum once again, now that I'm back to doing it on the weekly, kids are back in school, and things are becoming more routine, so hopefully we're going to be able to keep doing this every week, or almost every week, as it were, as things go on. So, welcome to October. This month is going to be crazy. There's possibly Apple news coming. There's possibly Google news coming. There's possibly Samsung news coming. We've had Meta event. We've had Google event. We've had an Apple event. It's just been wild, and things are all over the place. DJI is dropping products like crazy. We got the new Nano, which I did drop my review video earlier this week. So if you missed it, go and check it out. I love this little tiny camera. The gist of it is this thing is tiny. You can film landscape or portrait. It's 4K, and I have been doing little motion lapses in my car. I just put the little suction mount on my car and just set it to go, and those are fun little things that I do. I'm looking forward to testing it next week when I go on the plane to do a motion lapse and see how that compares to how I normally do it with the DJI Pocket 3, which is what I normally film all of my videos with. And I'm looking forward to using it with my kids when I'm traveling next week or the next 2 weeks, whatever it is. And it's just a great little camera. And if you want the smaller form factor, you can have just the camera itself without the screen, or you can have the screen on the bottom attached to it. It does work in either direction here, so you can have the screen facing you or the screen facing the camera if you are recording yourself that way. It's just a great, very high quality, tiny little camera. One concern is with anything this tiny, battery life. Now, one thing that I didn't include in my review, because I only really discovered it as I started using it more and more extensively over the last couple of days, is that the screen itself charges the camera puck. So as you are recording, if you have the screen on the bottom plugged in, it will deplete the full battery of the screen, and the battery on the camera will still be 100% even if the bottom screen is dead, and you can record directly to the internal storage of the camera, which is 64 gig, without recording to the screen. How that would work where the screen dies halfway through, I'm not sure. I guess I have to test that. But generally, I pretty much always record with the screen attached, and I have an SD card in here, so then I record directly to the SD card, and I don't have to worry about the fact that this is only a 64 gig camera. If that is an issue, and I find myself using it more like this, then I might return it and switch to a higher capacity camera on there. But all in all, I love the form factor. I love the way it works on the hat. Check out the video that I did for full details on that. Also, I have been filming my review of the Ubiquiti G6 360 camera that I showed off and unboxed on last week's show, and that's a great little camera, or not so little. I mean, not little compared to the Nano, but it's a really solid camera, and I am very happy with it. I'm happy with the resolution, and hopefully I'll have that video either dropping today or probably Sunday or Monday, and that will go up soon. And then I've also got a couple of other videos that I have to put out. I have so many videos to do. I'm so far behind. I've got the NAS 2-bay NAS over here that I gotta finish my video on, and oh man, so much other stuff. Some things I can tell you about, some things I can't tell you about, not from Ubiquiti, but from others. Lots of stuff in the works. I'm getting, hopefully, some e-ink displays into the studio, which is going to be a lot of fun to play with. But my favorite for this week has got to be this guy. This is the Logitech MX Master 4. This is the Mac edition. And I have been waiting for this freaking mouse to launch for several months, and I'll tell you why. The previous version that I've had for a while, the MX Master 3S, if you can see, it's got all the nasty accumulation on the material from my hand, also worn out on the top. It's downright sticky at this point because I haven't used it for about, I don't know, a month or two. It started dying. I beat up my mice a little bit. I'll admit it. I don't treat my computer mice very nicely. Sometimes, you're working on something and you're just like, ugh! And it's just, slam the mouse every once in a while. Yeah, okay, I have some anger issues when it comes to mice not working or computers not working, apparently. But this started to die. And I was like, but the rumors are already swirling that there's going to be a new one coming soon. So I can't spend $120, whatever it was, or $180, I forget what the price of this one was, on a new one if I know that the new version is imminent. So I had been thinking about getting a travel mouse for a while, and I was like, you know what? I'll get the, whatever this one is called, the MX Anywhere 3S, which is the travel version of the MX Master Series, and really, really nice, sleek, works on the same, what do they call it, the bolt adapter there, and it feels nice, it's solid, it feels good. This was like 75 bucks. So I got this, and this has held me over for a couple of months here, and it's interesting because I got used to not wearing it, sorry. I got used to using it because it's a much smaller form factor, to the point where it was a little bit weird when I picked up the new one. I was like, oh, this feels so much bigger in the hand. So keep in mind, if you are going to go from a smaller one to a bigger one, you may need to adjust. Let me go get it, because I needed to grab something on my computer before, and I forgot that I needed to bring it back to the desk. So here's the new one. And I am very happy with it. And of course, I ordered it right away. I'm a huge fan of the Master Series. I use the MX Master keys, their keyboard. I have the smaller version over here, and I have the larger version over at the my editing desk, my main work desk. The main difference between these is a couple of things. One, you have a better design. Two, this is more plastic. This previous version had their grippy material that went across the whole side of it, as opposed to other versions which kind of just have it on the sides or whatnot. This has plastic just across the top and the sides, and feels, sure, maybe not as nice when you first take it out of the box. It doesn't feel like that fake leather feel. However, it's not going to get that nasty accumulation that occurs when the oils from your hand kind of blend in with whatever that material is that they're using on there, and it gets kind of nasty after a while. So this is not likely going to have that problem. They also did a slight redesign, and I'll show them side by side here. This is, why am I not focusing? This is the Master 3, this is the Master 4, and so you can see that it's got more of a tapered overhang on the mouse keys, as well as a change in position of the scroll wheel and an added button. So right here, where you normally have the front and the forward and backwards buttons, there's an added button that is directly in front of those. And the reason for that is because the button that was previously in the palm rest over here was moved to that position. That new button is effectively the same as the action button that you had before, where you could program it to do any myriad of options, and some of them even depending on which app you were in, because that's one of the great things about the Logitech mice, is that they're so programmable. You can basically just set even full-on workflows or scripts of actions to take place when you hit any of these buttons. And so Logitech really was like, hey, let's go the gaming mouse route, where we give you even more buttons, but do it in a way that is more intuitive on a business class mouse. And what they've done here is they actually put a haptic pad in the thumb rest. And so now when you push on this, it has a little haptic feedback engine that taps you, and it does that when it wakes up also, so that you know that it's alive and it's awake. But when you tap that, it actually opens up an action wheel. And what you get is a couple of options in selections around the center of the mouse, where when you hit that, you can then select those. One of them right now, like the standard stuff, is lock your computer, copy, play, pause. I forget what open Logitech options. I forget what the other ones are. But I think that's going to be really, really useful as you start customizing it more for the tools that you're in. So for example, if I'm in Final Cut and I want to have it do the keyboard shortcut for switching tools, I can just, instead of doing it on the keyboard, I can just hit it on the mouse, and I can be a lot more just on my mouse instead of needing two hands all the time in order to edit, which is very, very welcome. Another thing that I do in Final Cut Pro is specifically, compared to like Chrome or some of the other browsers, or the other Windows rather, applications is what I'm trying to say, is with the scroll wheel. In most Windows, you'll swipe to the side or scroll side to side, or in if you have multiple spaces, do they still call it that in macOS 26? I'm not sure. But the workspaces where you're working, you can switch from one to the other, which is really handy if you're working on just a small laptop screen and not a large multi-window setup like I am. But in Final Cut, what you're able to do is you can actually control the scrolling side to side of the timeline, which is super duper helpful for somebody like me when you're trying to edit videos. And so I have it programmed and really dialed in for all of those things. And so I was very excited for this to launch. Again, it felt much bigger in my hand because I wasn't used to something that large anymore. Just to give you a size comparison, holding it up next to the MX Anywhere, it is quite a bit bigger, and that's essentially my video on this. I will make a video on it because, you know, SEO and better quality and actually showing you what I am talking about here as opposed to just seeing it through my camera webcam. But all in all, really solid mouse. I love the haptic trackpad effect here and the action wheel. As always, I love how customizable it is. There is supposedly a way to... Oh no, there's not. I was thinking of was it I think it was the Vergecast episode, or was it Vergecast, or was it MKBHD Waveform, where they said that they put the dongle into the USB-C charge port. That's probably not a great idea and not an easy way to get it out either. So, but they were looking for a way to store that. I don't have that problem because I don't travel with this mouse. It lives on my desk, so the dongle stays on my desk. But overall, that's probably the most I've ever said about a mouse. Obviously, I have big opinions about this. I'm a big fan of it, and I am very happy that Logitech finally decided to release it and give it to all of us, and I'm very happy that that arrived. The other thing is that I mentioned that I'm going on a trip. I bought and I have an iPad Pro, I bought an iPad Air, and this is the 5th generation Air, and the reason for that is because I'm sick and tired of the Amazon Kids tablet garbage processor. I'm sorry, Amazon. I know you had a big event this week and you came out with all kinds of new things, but every single kids processor that I've gotten, like kids tablet, even the Pro, you know, not adulter, but big kid versions, work for a little while and then just completely cease to exist or just suck. And I've had apps that just won't download things anymore. I've had storage problems when there's literally nothing on there other than what I download for the kids, and then I release all of that, and then it still says I have storage problems. So I'm done with Amazon tablets for the kids. I said the next time I travel, I'm going to get an iPad, which I know how to do what I want to do, and it's going to have enough storage on it to hold all the shows that they could possibly want to watch on a trip. And so I bought the iPad Air, which has an M1 processor in it. I haven't set it up yet. And then the case that I have, no, don't quick set up my iPad with my other iPad, thank you very much. The case that I got here, this is a Taurus iPad case, whatever. It has room for the pencil in here, which I don't have. I'm just viewing that as a little bit of a handhold at this point. I like this one because it has both the lower kickstand, so if you want to sit it for, like, you know, games or reading or whatever, you can. And then if you want to have it sit up like normal for, well, watching movies or using it for work or whatnot, you can. So I figured I'd highlight that because this is a pretty nifty case and really great value. $330 for an M1 processor iPad that has, you know, a solid, it's only one camera, but it's a solid camera that's on there. And I thought that was a really good buy considering how powerful the M1 processor is, especially in the iPad. I have the M4 in my iPad Pro, and that thing just freaking flies. Like, it's ridiculous. I love it. So, on to some of the other topics of the week. I talked about the Ubiquiti G6 Pro camera and the UNAS 2, which I still have to make a video on. What else have I seen? So I am, as you may have seen me tease on X, doing an awesome collab with, I guess their channel is also on YouTube. They're not really getting started on YouTube, but they're thinking about it. The company called Yes Techie is out of Los Angeles here, and they do a lot of low voltage installs, and some of them are pretty big. And so we teamed up so that I can bring you the story of the installs that they're doing over to the YouTube world and start building that out on my audience and their incredible work and showing off to the Ubiquiti crowd what it looks like to do such a massive deployment. They've got, I think, 8 guys there. They're doing it in 10 to 15 days. It's 96 cameras, a bunch of access points, all enterprise gear. I got to play with the ENVR today for the first time, which is awesome because that is a sexy beast. It's huge. I mean, this thing, you need the big rack if you're going to hold it up. It holds 16 drives. So today we were putting in 16 24 terabytes. It's 384 terabytes of storage. And I'm going, wow, what a NAS that would be. So I look forward to the day that I can afford to have a NAS with 384 terabytes here in the studio. But for now, I'll settle for my, 27 terabytes, whatever I've got. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be probably a couple weeks until that project gets done, and then I've had time to edit and return from my trip and get that video out. But I'm looking forward to doing more videos like that. If there are other companies out here that are doing installs that want me to tag along and we can make videos about it, great, let me know. I love behind the scenes and showing off what it takes to actually do this, and I'm going to go deep into the plans and jump back and forth between the studio and there and show how it's all done and give you a look into what you don't normally see on YouTube, because there's not a lot of YouTubers that are doing huge massive installs, because usually those that are doing huge massive installs are too busy running their company doing huge massive installs. So I'm going to try and bring the best of both worlds together and share that with all of you. So stay tuned for that. Speaking of Ubiquiti events, Ubiquiti has 2 conferences coming up, one in Australia, in Sydney, I believe, and one in Miami. If you haven't heard me talk about it yet, I will be at the one in Miami, and I'm super excited. I will be there probably one day, possibly 2. No, it's just a one-day conference, but I might just stay over the next night, depending on what flights are available. Also, I may have a military technology conference in Utah the next day. Let me know in the comments if you want to, or shoot me a note on X or Twitter, whatever, if you want me to cover what's the latest in military technology. I got an invite to this through some of my connections, and I think it'd be really interesting because despite what you think politically, some of the craziest tech that's being built right now is happening in the military space. You've got Anduril is building crazy, awesome autonomous weaponry. You've got the drone space is exploding thanks to what's happening in the Ukraine and Russia war, and that seems to be the new front. Like, no more helicopters, it's just drones. No more planes, it's just drones. Drones for everything. Drone swarms, drone this, drone that. Anduril even has autonomous submarines. Like, this shit's crazy. So I think it's really interesting from a technology standpoint. Let me know if you would find that interesting. And maybe I'll pop over there and see what everybody is showing off on the show floor there. But for both of Ubiquiti's conferences, as they are technically embargoed, I won't be able to share everything that goes on there, but I will be able to share, or I will share as much as I can, and I am going to work with the Ubiquiti team to make sure that there is something that I can share with you. I'm going to, maybe turn some screws on some folks and see if there's some things that I can show off and can talk about from attending. So I will do my best to not leave you out in the cold, because those events are awesome. I didn't get to go last year and I was very sad, and so I'm very excited that I get to go this year. And the one in Sydney I think is happening before the one in Miami. Miami's in November, so Sydney I think is next month or so, or this month, because now we're in October. So if you are down on that side of the world, make sure that you sign up and see if you can attend. All right. What else do we have here? Some AR VR news. Apple has apparently shifted focus away from a more affordable Vision Pro headset, so I guess a Vision Air or a Vision regular, whatever, I don't know, Vision headset, to chase the crazy awesome market that Meta stumbled upon by accident, which is, or seemingly by accident, which they have spent many, many tens of billions of dollars on, which is the AR glasses that I was talking about last week on last week's show. I'm very excited about them. Anybody over on the Meta team, if you can help me to skip the line and get a pair, I'm pretty sure that I'm, size 3. I want to make a video about them, and I'm very excited for this platform and, to start using it and showing it off. And I am working on, actually, this is really cool. I'm working on because I'm getting more and more into covering this, for whether it's virtual reality glasses like the X-Real glasses, or augmented reality like the Meta glasses, or the coming Google, whatever that headset is going to be called, or back on the VR side, Project Muhan, which is apparently being announced or released in the next week or two. I am 3D printing a head, which I will be able to insert into one of the eyeballs a camera, possibly even the Nano. I haven't decided which camera I'm going to use yet, whichever one can best capture what's on the screen, but a way to natively, naturally capture what's happening on the screen at the distance of what it would look like when you're actually looking through it. And a lot of times when people, capture these, they hold up their phone and it's all shaky, and even if you put one on a tripod, it's still like, it goes in and out of focus. I'm really hoping that with a camera that I have the ability to control it, where I can lock in the focus, that I'll be able to reliably test every time the same standards, the same type of test with each of the different glasses that come out, because this is an enormous field. This is going to have massive implications both in the consumer sector as well as in the commercial and public sector, and I am a firm believer that this is poised to explode. And we're at that point where, if you remember back when phones screens were meh for a while, and then all of a sudden they started getting so good you couldn't tell, what resolution it was or where the pixels were, and then they started cramming more pixels in, and then the quality got even better. We're at that point with glasses. This is happening now with the new Meta displays. $800 is a crazy cheap price for the amount of tech that is in those glasses, and I think you're going to see probably not such a great price for Project Muhan, whatever that's going to be called. They're probably going to price that closer to the Vision Pro, which is very disappointing because that is a very expensive price, and I think that's why Meta is willing to lose money on these glasses so that they can become a market leader in that area, especially as Apple has now refocused their attention in that direction. So I think we're at this point where the glasses are finally getting good enough for mass adoption where everyone's gonna be like, oh, this makes sense. Like, yes, this doesn't give me headaches. This is a good looking screen. I'm going to buy these. And so I want to be able to have this 3D printed head. Don't steal my idea. Or if you do, at least give me credit. This 3D printed head where I can have a reliable, dedicated camera in there where I can do a test on this each and every time a new headset comes out, or I want to do a video on this to show reliably what is on the glasses. So I'm excited about that. That should be a lot of fun. As far as Apple changing their plans, you know what? I think it's a good thing. I think right now the mass adoption product is going to be something that is more augmented, and Apple has been headed in this direction for years with the watch. A lot of the features on the watch have shown while you are walking down the street, if you're looking for directions, for example, it vibrates on your wrist, and you know when it's time to turn. All you have to do is glance, and you can see, what direction you're going in. Also, for example, on the watch with new Watch OS 26, this is the waypoints. I don't know if you can see that, but the edges of the area around the dial turns with the compass as I turn my watch around, or as I move around with the watch, and it actually has like my home location, where I parked my car, and that continuously is updating. And there's another thing. What's over there? Is that the Apple Store? What is that? Yeah, there's the Apple Store, and I am planning on going there later today because I need to trade in my iPhone so that I can get my old iPhone so that I can get the money back on it. But so they have all of this ambient data that they're already displaying to you on screens like this and on your phone. It makes a ton of sense to throw that up in your face and have that there. The same kind of ambient data that you would show on an e-ink screen, which is what I mentioned at the beginning of the show here, I have coming soon, that you can have the ongoing ambient data show up on your face. And no, it doesn't have to be up on all the time, and that's why on the Meta glasses you just basically tap your wrist or your fingers together and it brings up the screen. That's so that you don't have that data all the time. I think it's good because I think a lot more people are going to be more interested in using it like that, as opposed to the isolating effect that occurs when you put on a total blackout, virtual reality headset, where I can't use that with my wife. I can't use that around my kids. If I do, I'm an asshole. Like, that's not cool. Don't do that. Granted, sure, I could sit back in my studio and do that when I'm working or editing or whatever, but I'm also in a very privileged position where I get to do this all day. So most people aren't able to, just say, oh, it's for work, and put your head back and test out a headset and watch a movie, right? I mean, I'm very grateful for that. Thank you to all of you who listen and watch my videos and whatnot so that I can continue doing that. Click the affiliate link so that I can continue. But, mass adoption is going to be what provides the most value. And value is cool for, virtual reality provides the value of, for example, when you're traveling, great. Take you out of the airplane and isolate you and watch a movie. That's awesome. Everybody wants to do that on a plane. Nobody wants to think about that they're on a plane. They just want to be on a plane and get to where they're going and get off the plane. If planes went faster, that'd be great. And we'll get there because Boom Aerospace is doing a great job. That being said, I think that there's a much larger market right now and in the next few years for augmented versus virtual reality. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that, especially when Google enters the ring with X-Real Project Aura, they're calling it. That's their first generation glasses. X-Real partnered with Google to be the first augmented reality glasses running Android XR. The first virtual reality glasses running Android XR is going to be Samsung's Project Muhan. That will be coming out probably in the next 2 weeks. I have tried all of these, by the way, except for Project Aura. Sorry, don't quote me on that. I have not tried Project Aura. I have tried Google's prototype of the same thing, where they have a regular pair of glasses that's running Android XR in the augmented reality version, where you can see pass through. And I really should release that video because that is becoming very timely. I gotta get that out there, so somebody remind me. All right, moving on. What else do I have to talk about here? Yeah, I already talked about that. Windows 10 PCs, by the way, FYI, end of life. They are being phased out. Microsoft is done with Windows 10. And a lot of people are saying, oh, Windows 11, this and that, and some people don't want to go Windows 11, or the PCs are so old they cannot support Windows 11. Well, I wanted to just, give the idea out here that Chrome OS Flex exists. It is fantastic, and I have, with my clients, installed on hundreds of computers, and it works great. Take an old PC, an old Mac, throw Chrome OS Flex on there, and it still runs circles around lots of other things out there because Chrome OS is such a lightweight operating system that you don't need immense amounts of hardware in order to run it, as opposed to Windows, which you do, or Mac OS, also, which you do. Seems kind of an oxymoron given how much power Chrome takes up on the other platforms as opposed to on Chrome OS, but hey, it's a different platform. What can I say? The OS itself is Linux-based, and so therefore it is much more lightweight and doesn't require a lot of hardware. So even older hardware will be much more powerful for the OS, even though it doesn't run very well on newer operating systems. So FYI, heads up, putting that out there. It's a great option, and I actually did a video on the channel, if you haven't seen it, look it up, where I tested the fresh boot times for Windows. I guess I should have done Mac in that test also, but Windows PC, brand new from the box, versus a new Chromebook, brand new from the box. From start to be able to log in and go to google.com, the Chromebook was about a minute and 20, minute 30, give or take, if I remember correctly. The Windows laptop, which was state-of-the-art, Dell XPS, etc., took half an hour. From updates, and the Chromebook did updates too, but not 30 minutes of them. The Windows machine did updates. It tried to upsell me on everything under the sun. I'm surprised they're not trying to sell me a car under there, for crying out loud. It then did more updates. Then it had to do account stuff. Then it had to set everything up and then optimize. And then this, half an hour it took from when I took it out of the box to be able to go to google.com. Insane. I didn't even download Chrome. I did it in Edge because I wanted it to be the fastest possible. And yeah, that was nuts. So that's a side rant. We'll move on from there. Let's talk about the Meta Ray-Bans again for a minute, because this launch has been awful. The only way, at the beginning, the only way that you could get your hands on the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, the displays, the one with the display in them that I have been talking about this whole show, is to schedule a demo and go to either a Meta display pop-up store or a Best Buy or in theory, although I haven't seen any with appointments, a Ray-Ban store. Sunglass side, whatever. Ray-Ban's store. And it turns out that even if you do all of those things and get the appointment, if you show up, you may not walk out with a headset. You could be ready to buy it right then and there, and they may not have it. They're sold out everywhere. The appointment times are sold out through January in any of the big cities that I tried. I had an appointment for next week. Unfortunately, it turns out as part of my travel, I'm going to be on an airplane that day, so I had to give that up. I was able to get, this is already like 2 weeks ago when I was doing this, or a week ago, I booked in Vegas, because Vegas has a big Meta pop-up store. So I was like, all right, let me try Vegas. I booked an appointment in Vegas, like I said on last week's show. I'm going to fly to Vegas and see if I can get them for the week after show, and if I can start testing these and making a video on these, because you know that I'm all over these, and let's see if it works. I don't know if it's going to work. It sounds like they're out of stock everywhere. Then I saw Engadget and others reporting that you didn't need an appointment, you could just go in the store and grab them. So I might do that today as well if I find myself, because it's only certain Best Buys that have it. I tried my local Best Buy, nothing. They're like, yeah, we don't know. We're going to get it at some point. We don't know when. So it's very frustrating, very difficult to get these. I don't even need necessarily the appointment. I don't need to be sized. Sure, I'm size 3. Pop it on there. I'll figure it out. I'm happy to figure it out. That's what I do. That's what I love. I don't need them to show me how to do it. I will watch other YouTube videos and I will figure it out on my own. Just give me the damn device. Or devices, as it were. Like, let me get hands-on, please. And so, Meta, if you're listening, which I doubt, but if you are, anybody from the Meta team, please make this better. And if you are listening, would you like to send me a headset for review, please? That'd be great. Thanks. So hopefully they get a better handle on this. I don't think that they were understanding how many people were really going to want this. It makes sense that San Francisco and New York City would be completely sold out, LA as well, which is why I went to the Vegas route. But, it seems like they should have had a lot more in reserve for this launch. Um, I think that's pretty much it. I had a couple of other notes, but it's nothing really all that important. And I showed off all of my new toys here. So, like I said, a little bit of a shorter show, 34 minutes. I think I will drop off here. Because I was offline yesterday and a couple days ago, and I have more videos to make and things to send out here. So have a great week, everybody. Thank you, as always, for watching, if you're watching live. If not, thank you for watching and listening on all of the different platforms. Please subscribe to the channel on YouTube if you can, if you haven't already. I'm trying to hit 20,000 by the end of the year. As always, thanks for watching. Have a good week, and hopefully, maybe, I'll see you on next week's show.